How's it going, everyone? Today we'll be using this Deadpool protection deck to take on the Juggernaut scenario on Heroic difficulty, part of my channel challenge of trying to beat every scenario in the game on Heroic using a different hero. So we've got a very amusing matchup today. First of all, just flavorfully, Deadpool and Juggernaut face off in the Deadpool 2 movie, so we're kind of recreating that here. But also mechanically, Juggernaut is probably the most hit point management testing scenario in the game, maybe with the exception of Ronin, but Juggernaut's got his helmet, which gives him overkill on attacks and stalwart, so we can't really stun him, we can't really ally block, he's just going to hit you a lot. Moreover, all of his encounter cards just deal tons more damage to you. But Deadpool, on the other side, is probably the most survivable hero in the game. Because for one thing, when he would die in hero form, he actually doesn't die. He just flips to alter ego form instead on 1 life. And he's got a recover of 8, so he can just do it all again the next turn. So a really amusing matchup. And to be completely honest, this deck is totally built to counter the Juggernaut scenario. So yeah, if you want to try to take this for a spin against a different scenario, it'll be functional more or less, but really, a lot of the card choices I've made here are motivated by the Juggernaut scenario. In particular, I've included basically as many ways as possible to give Deadpool a tough status. So because of that, overkill on attacks and stalwart, having tough statuses is really the only way to defend these large attacks. And of course, Deadpool can take some, like I just mentioned, but every single encounter card basically is another attack or another source of damage. So if we can efficiently soak up one of them with a tough and still use our hit points to deal with the other encounter cards, that's still a good place to be. So if we look through the deck here, Hidden Base, this is the card that I was waiting for to come out in Civil War before recording this video. Gives us a tough status whenever we flip down to alter ego form. So the timing of that is kind of nice. Like if we get down to 1, or sorry, if we die in hero form, we get down to 1, we get flipped to alter ego. Now we're vulnerable because now we don't have that ability to save us if we would take an extra point of damage. But with Hidden Base, we can get that tough status. Now if the main scheme pops, which makes Juggernaut attack, now we can take it on a tough. There's an encounter card or two where we take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, so that could be soaked up by the tough. So I think Hidden Base factors in pretty well with this matchup. Toughs could be a little bit awkward for Wade because if we don't remove them in the villain phase, it can prevent us from paying the costs for Yoo-Hoo Maximum Effort or Deadpool's Katana, which require us to take damage as part of a cost of the ability. So the way that works is when you're tough, you can't pay that cost, and since you can't pay a cost, you can't even initiate that ability or do anything. So we could get some awkward turns there, but I think it's more likely overall that we will use those tough statuses effectively on the flip down. So I think Hidden Base will be quite strong here. Hard Knocks, so obviously this is another source of tough, but it does pair very well with this scenario again because of the Creeping Willow minions who have 3 hit points. So this allows us to kill those and get a tough status. Just a really good package against those minions. Just staying over here for now, I guess. Weapon X, Moira, just good resource generators. Moira, especially since we're doing some extra flipping perhaps with the flipping down, Moira gets her value back a little faster. Helicarrier, just solid value card. X-Force trait, we can't really play the Quinn Carrier, the X-Jet, so Helicarrier is kind of the best we can do for an all-around resource generator. Established Perimeter, if it says the word tough on it, then you know exactly why I've put it in the deck already. Build support can help get Helicarrier. The Chimichanga Truck's also really important for Deadpool. Just being able to recover in alter ego, but then still get it's basically just a free ready every turn because of how often we'll want to recover with this deck. All right, moving into the allies here. Basically every tough ally that I could include here, I guess maybe not War Machine, but like Colossus is tough, Luke is tough, Warpath is tough, Polaris is tough. Rogue is just very strong, very good stats, so Rogue makes it in here, and then obviously Cable is the signature. 3 copies of Energy Barrier. Energy Barrier is generally just good overall, but especially against those Creeping Willows who attack for 1. If they actually damage you, they stun you. So Energy Barrier just works perfectly to prevent that 1 damage and stop Deadpool from getting stunned. Endurance for some extra hit points, and then Symbiote Suit. So as you may have seen, I was recently on Web Warrior Fanatics channel, and we did a whole episode talking about the Symbiote Suit. So if you want my detailed thoughts about Symbiote Suit, I encourage you to check that out. The TLDR of it is, or TLDW, I guess, is that, in general, the ongoing cost of having a Symbiote Suit in play does not outweigh the benefits that you get. So I think it is a highly overrated card, but in a Deadpool deck, it actually does a couple special things. So one is that the plus 10 hit points that Symbiote Suit gives you, usually this is just like a flat addition, but over time, the hazard icon, outvalues the plus 1 to each stat. So, the temporary benefit, doesn't factor in a ton to just the ongoing negative value of the card. But with Deadpool, because of all the recovering he does, he can recover once, ready with the Chimichanga Truck, maybe even recover again. He has the ability to use those plus 10 hit points multiple times. So that's something that can actually break, I don't want to say break the symmetry, but can actually push Symbiote Suit over the top to actually be worth it for Deadpool. The other thing it does for Deadpool is it gives him basically a free I win button, because with the card Maximum Effort, we can take as much damage as we want to deal that much damage to an enemy. And then with this card as Fire, we deal damage equal to our sustained damage. So with Symbiote Suit out, potentially even Endurance, but let's just say Symbiote Suit for now, we can get up to 19 health, take 18 damage with Maximum Effort, deal 18 damage to an enemy. Then this card as Fire does 18 damage. So that's such a insane burst of damage that we can really, end the game on the spot in many, many circumstances. Even if things get a little bit out of control with these extra encounter cards, Deadpool can just snap his fingers and basically win the game. So this becomes really, really nice for Deadpool as well. Face the Past, because Wade's Nemesis minion is a 3 health minion that basically does nothing. So Face the Past, always included in a Deadpool deck. And then a couple Power of Protection, just because we got a bunch of green allies, Energy Barrier, Hard Knocks, Hidden Base that all cost 2 or more. So I think it's a good place for the Power of Protection. And the name of the game here is just stay alive. Like, staying alive is basically all we have to do, because so many of Juggernaut's encounter cards just deal you more damage. So just stay alive. Eventually we'll land a Symbiote Suit, and then, like I say, kind of snap our fingers and win the game. And I suppose I should mention, so Wade's ability here, he can discard a card from hand to tutor a Deadpool event from deck. So it's not even like we're waiting to draw both of these in the same hand. Like, all we need to draw is one, and Wade could go find the other. So it's extremely consistent as well. And in fact, I would say that Deadpool is pretty pretty overkill for this Juggernaut scenario. So maybe we'll pull him back again against, I'm just thinking like Galaxy's Most Wanted has lots of difficult scenarios. So we've got him in reserve maybe to do against one of those scenarios, but the pairing here is just too funny against Juggernaut. And honestly, I don't know how many heroes could do Juggernaut on Heroic because of how much he attacks you. Like, who else can survive as well as Deadpool? I'm not sure. All right, I've been talking long enough here. Tough, 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 tough. Win the game. That's the strategy. Let's talk about the Juggernaut scenario. So let's talk about Juggernaut here in case you're less familiar with how the scenario works, or if you want some tips to try to face him on high difficulty yourself. So Juggernaut, I think the first defining thing, just to point out, I mentioned it in the deck breakdown, but is Juggernaut's helmet. So it gives him Stalwart, and his attacks gain Overkill. So I mentioned that's why we've got such a focus on tough statuses to really counteract him. But then as a hero action, we can spend 3 resources of the same type, remove each momentum counter from Juggernaut, and flip this card. Then while on this side, he takes 1 additional damage from each mental resource. After he schemes, we put 1 momentum counter on Juggernaut and flip this card back. But the main thing is he no longer has those abilities of gaining Stalwart or having attacks gain Overkill. So now we can just, block with allies like we usually do, or stun him or confuse him. And so really this, a few times throughout the game, at least in a normal game, you'll want to flip this to bring his attack back down to a reasonable level and maybe to take advantage of some stunning and confusing. But, it's pretty expensive to do that. It costs 3 resources, so we might not have the luxury of always doing that, especially on an early turn. So he attacks for 1 million. We do have a main scheme here. It's got a low threshold of only 7, but what happens when we actually pop it? We don't lose the game. We do these things in order. We remove all threat, we flip his helmet if he's exposed, give him a momentum counter, and then Juggernaut attacks each player in player order, even if in alter ego form. So when we pop the main scheme, it actually just becomes another attack. So really, as you'll see the theme throughout, Juggernaut just keeps on attacking, keeps trying to damage us. So this is why, like with Deadpool, even if we get flipped down because of our ability, like we die in hero form, we flip down to alter ego, maybe we get in advance, Juggernaut attacks again, it's really nice to have that tough status from hidden base to maybe save us from that scenario. If we look at Juggernaut's encounter cards, he's got 1 card here, the Head of Steam. This is pretty notable. He'll get this if we go to stage 3 on Juggernaut. Gives Juggernaut Retaliate X, where X is the number of momentum counters on him. When revealed, we attach this to him and place 1 momentum counter on him. After Juggernaut attacks you, spend 1 resource for each damage dealt by that attack and discard this card. So that's basically impossible to do. I mean, Juggernaut's attack is really large, typically maybe shrunk down to 3 if we've flipped him. Of course, some boost would have to come in, but we're looking at spending 3 to 5 resources there to try to discard Head of Steam. And it's damage dealt, not damage taken, so we can't just cheese it like with a tough status or something. So Head of Steam, very problematic. We probably just have to live with the Retaliate there, but if we flip the helmet, we can bring the Retaliate down to 0, at least maybe when we try to go for the final kill or for a bunch of ally attacks or something. Then with our treacheries here, 2 copies of Trample. This is probably the most notable one because in hero form, Juggernaut attacks the ally with the fewest remaining hit points. So this is a Hope Summers scenario. Any scenario with Hope, if she leaves play, the players lose the game. So if she is our lowest cost ally, Juggernaut will attack her directly. So we've got to either be able to defend for ourselves or have another ally out with equal or fewer hit points that we could make Juggernaut attack instead. Ground Pound, take indirect damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, and that's independent of what form we're in, so that's, even in alter ego, we can end up taking a bunch of damage there. Flatten, either take damage equal to his attack or place 1 momentum counter on him, more damage. Breakthrough, either take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, so you see the theme here, or discard the highest cost upgrade or support you control, so generally we'll do the first one because we are pretty survivable. And then 3 copies of Siderax Exemplar, Insight 1 in Expert mode, and then flip his helmet or place threat on the main scheme equal to his attack. So in practice, this often just equals an extra attack because it might finish the main scheme and then cause Juggernaut to attack us, because that's what happens when the main scheme pops. So damage, 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 right? Hopefully it's clear why I like Deadpool for this matchup because of how much he can soak and heal back and why I've included so many tough statuses. We've got the recommended Black Tom Cassidy here. So I mentioned these Creeping Willows. Energy barriers counter these really well, blocking that 1 damage, dealing it back somewhere, but honestly just preventing the stun is the big thing there. A boss minion with Black Tom, who's pretty annoying. Another side scheme here. 1 small side scheme in the Juggernaut scenario, which isn't really that bad. And then Hope Summers, who's got the Captive Hope, as always. So it's one of the most unique scenarios, really, because of how much it just keeps hammering on your hit point management. But in a certain sense, it's kind of all you have to manage. Like the threat pressure isn't too much. The minions aren't too bad. Like they've got 3, obviously they've got the quick strike thing, but they've got 3 health, 0 scheme, so you can maybe give yourself an extra turn. So it's that's really just what you got to focus on. Like really treat your health total preciously because of how much damage he can churn out against you. And be mindful of when you want to flip the helmet as well. You don't really want to flip it unless you've got an opportunity to stun or confuse, especially if you confuse, because then you might be flipping down and that stops Juggernaut from scheming, which flips this back. So it's good to flip it if you're ready to stun him or confuse him for a while. But in general, that's expensive. You just don't want to do it that many times throughout the game, maybe just 1 to 3 times. But if we just let his attack stat get bigger and bigger, his attack got overkill, so each one of those momentum counters really hurts. Ground pound, take damage equal to his attack. Each one of those momentum counters hurts. So at some point, periods throughout the game, we want to be flipping this. Last thing that I'll just mention here, we got the Merc with the Mouth obligation, which says that basically I need to not talk for an entire phase to discard this card. For me, actually, it's probably not that bad. I'll just have like text on the screen or something. So I will stop talking. I don't even know. You could argue whether it's because it's more of a flavor thing than a mechanical thing in a solo game. But if I draw it, I'll just put text on the screen. So if I randomly go quiet and you're kind of half watching, half doing something else, that's why. All right, but I think we're ready for the Juggernaut scenario. So let's dive into the game. Getting it started here, we've resolved the setup, attached Juggernaut's helmet to Juggernaut. Hope Summers is in play under our control. The main scheme starts with 1 threat on. Juggernaut's got to, when revealed, place 1 momentum counter here. If Juggernaut is exposed, if Juggernaut exposes in play, flip it. Otherwise, give Juggernaut a tough status card. So we've given Juggernaut a tough, and he starts on 21 hit points. We'll shuffle up the deck here. Opening hand, really want to see at least one way to get tough would be pretty nice. Or just something to set up, as always. Using this first turn of not much pressure to get a resource or value generator in play is usually nice. And let's take a look at the opening 6 as I then shuffle the encounter deck. Okay, I like Weapon X a lot. We can use that right away. Then we probably keep the double to play Polaris. Colossus kind of does the same thing, but that way we get to use the double. And then if I had one more 1-cost thing to play, I could play it. Or another double resource. Could also think about something I might draw with Wade's Break the Fourth Wall ability. But definitely mulligan, this card is fire. And I think Colossus, I don't think there's any world where I play both Polaris and Colossus. And then the Katana is the close one, because if I draw a double, that I pay 1 for Weapon X, replace it, 1, 2, 3 for Polaris, double for Katana. But I think I'll just mulligan it. Maybe we can hit a build support or establish perimeter would all be good. Okay, we got none of those. So, yeah, not going to be the best possible turn here. But we'll pay 1 for Weapon X. Do I even not activate it? What could I get that I could actually play? I guess It Ain't Over would be an excellent hit. Montage doesn't do anything. Because if I'm truly getting nothing from it, I might as well save the hit point. I could Yoo-hoo for 1 off the main scheme. That's not really doing anything. Wouldn't have enough to flip the helmet. I think I just don't use the Weapon X. It Ain't Over would be excellent, but there's a relatively small chance that would be what I draw. So I'm just not going to use it. And might even think for a second about maximum effort. We'll flip to hero form. Pay 3 for Polaris. Let's give herself a tough. Thwart for 1 off the main scheme. Hope attacks the tough off of Juggernaut. And it's probably correct to maximum effort for some amount. But what is that amount? Juggernaut's going to attack me for 4, a max boost of 3. I mean, one option is just to do it for 8. I just don't need to take that kind of risk though, just to push damage. I'm gonna do it for 8. Drop down to 1, deal Juggernaut 8 damage. And end the turn. One threat on the main scheme. Juggernaut attacks, I'm gonna take it. We get dealt a bajillion damage. And excellent news for you as viewers, I won't be drawing my obligation anytime soon. So I would die. Instead of dying, we'll put an acceleration token on the main scheme and flip down. 2 encounter cards. Ground Pound, take indirect damage equal to Juggernaut's attack. So that's going to be 4 indirect damage. So we're going to assign 3 to Polaris. We can only assign indirect damage as much as they have health. But then 1 to Hope, because obviously we don't want to die. And I guess there's some things that kill us here. So the YOLO maybe didn't work. Under Fire, Siderax Exemplar will gain Insight 1 in Expert mode. Then if Juggernaut's exposes in play, flip it. Otherwise, place threat on the main scheme equal to Juggernaut's attack. That's going to be 4 threat, which just barely doesn't pop. And Under Fire number 2, Ground Pound, take indirect damage equal to his attack. Well, I'm actually not dead because Hope takes 1 more and Polaris takes 3. So, completely unnecessary risk there on my part. But here we are, we'll see if I get punished. Recover for 8, up to 9. I'm interested in maybe a Yoo-Hoo. No, Rogue is a good play. Okay, Weapon X does give me extra plays here, so we'll take 1. Armed to the teeth, doesn't matter. You could either play Endurance or Moira. I'm gonna play Moira. Pay 2 for Moira. Flip to hero form. Moira to draw. And then pay 4 for Rogue. I could play Endurance and Energy Barrier instead, but Rogue is just a lot of value. We'll tag Deadpool for 1 to buff her stats. Thwart for 4. And then Hope thwarts for 2. And end the turn. Really want to play an ally here so that if we draw Trample, then we can just make Juggernaut attack Hope. Hope can jump in and defend. Two threat on the main scheme because of acceleration. Juggernaut attacks. I'm just going to take it. It could kill me with a triple boost, but I don't think it's worth defending for 1. So 4 plus a boost of 2 puts me down to 1. 2 encounter cards. Captive Hope exhausts Hope. Advance is going to be a scheme for 1 plus a boost of 1 plus deal 1 damage to an ally you control. Well, that's one we really got to watch out for. But that's 2 threat on the main scheme from the scheme. And then a 3 threat Captive Hope. Okay. Yeah, that trample Gotta keep an eye out for that other trample ability. Alright, so I think it's gonna be truck. Plus Yoo-hoo. I mean, I could play truck, Yoo-hoo, and establish perimeter. I have to play establish perimeter and alter ego, though, after I've done a weapon X. Oh, I don't have... No, I don't have 3 damage to take for Yoo-hoo. I could have Rogue kill Deadpool to flip down. Yeah, that's definitely the move. Okay. So Rogue will deal 1 damage to Deadpool. And just seeing if there's any funky rules thing that happens. The cost is to deal damage. The interrupt is when you would be defeated. So I'm still paying the cost. So I don't think that fizzles or anything. It's different from like the take damage as a cost thing that we wouldn't be able to do if we were tough. Because forced interrupt, when you would be defeated, instead go to 1, change to alter ego, add 1 acceleration. So we'll add 1 acceleration. And Rogue's 4/4, but we'll see if it's actually worth doing anything with her, because I really need that ally as insurance for some other stuff. Pay 2 for Chimichanga Truck. Recover for 8. Ready with the truck. Weapon X. Taking 1. We get a meta knowledge. Meta knowledge is a good one to hang on to, but well, actually we'll see, because we're going to get a draw here. So we'll flip Moira to draw. Okay. So I can still only play 2 things, but I can play 2 things and keep 1 card in hand. Yeah, so if I activate with Rogue and she dies, then I just completely lose to trample as a boost card. So the only way I could clear Captive Hope is with the Yoo-hoo. Okay, yeah, I think this is good. I'll keep the double in hand. Oh, I could either keep the double or the meta knowledge in hand. I think actually meta knowledge is a little bit better. Just because hope is a little bit low. I don't know, there's some stuff that could really ruin our plans. Yeah, meta knowledge feels good to keep. More of a keeping meta knowledge is kind of the worst case scenario management, the loss condition management. Keeping genius would be total value output. So this is a good encapsulation of the fundamental tension of Marvel Champions. So we'll end up overpaying for established perimeter. Okay, I haven't actually reserved any thwarting for the main scheme. So, okay, I'd rather just not thwart established perimeter than not thwart the main scheme right now. But once I get hope back, I mean, that's just the best value play here. So we'll pay 1 for Yoo-hoo, take, take 3 damage down to 5. Clear Captive Hope. Thwart the main scheme for 2. Maybe this doesn't really work because I'm probably going to die to this first attack. In which case I can't do a hero interrupt once I'm flipped down. So, okay, I'm actually going to keep the double then. So I'll spend this to pay for one of those 1-cost cards instead of the double. But yeah, I don't want to use Rogue in case we get Trample as the boost ability. But we'll end the turn. Don't have a ton of places to put indirect damage either, so hopefully I don't get that one. Okay, it ain't over as big. So 3 threat on the main scheme because we've got 2 acceleration. Juggernaut attacks. Yeah, defending means I would need 2 boost icons to kill me, but then I don't get to Chimichanga Truck. So we'll just take it for 4 plus no boost ability. So instead of dying, we will acceleration, go to 1, and flip. 2 encounter cards. A Sound Thrashing. Each copy of Creeping Willow attacks. If you were not attacked this way, search for a Creeping Willow and reveal it. Kind of forgot that was in the deck for a second because we haven't seen any of those cards. But good to be revealing these in Alter Ego. And then Assault is going to surge after I shuffle. All right, if I survive this, I think we're basically good to go. Luke becomes a new, just huge health ally to take a bunch of stuff. We'll get it in over on the main scheme. We'll be cooking. Second assault surges. Master plan, perfect. Okay. I actually think there's a decent amount of stuff I would have died to. Like advance, I would have gotten attacked. He's still got overkill, so a rogue block wouldn't have done anything. The indirect damage one I would have died to, ground pound. I guess we've seen both of those already. Sidorak Exemplar, same thing as advance. Okay, so please do not, yeah, there's absolutely no world where I should have YOLO'd for turn 1. This has just been more of a role-playing game than a tactical game. That's my excuse. We'll recover and ready. And let's see how much I can try to squeeze in here. Just checking to make sure there's still at least 1 card to hit with Weapon X. So I've got Luke, and I've got this. So if I'm not like... that's an efficient thing to do. But if I drew 1 more card, I might be able to play build support, clear build support, get Helicarrier, play it in over. Oh, sorry. But I'm also drawing from Moira. So I'm not sure Weapon X matters. I'm kind of nervous about Weapon X discarding Symbiote Suit. Ooh, you know what would be really good right now is Exhausting Personality. I could draw 3 cards. like the sound of that. Or even just like a Hard Knocks. Well, Exhausting Personality to draw a Hard Knocks to kill the Creeping Willow. Okay, let's just do Weapon X. I might discard the suit, but we're doing totally fine, so. Okay, maximum effort. Gives me a way to kill the Creeping Willow at least if I don't get like a Hard Knocks. But let's see here. Yeah, I do want to discard a card to find Exhausting Personality. Do I even need to do that right now, though? I mean, it's still going to be great whenever I draw it. No, I think we're going to be fine. I think we're fine. All right, flip Moira to draw. Hey, there's a Hard Knocks. Is Hard Knocks worth not playing Luke, though? I don't think so, but I think the math works out here pretty well. So we'll pay 4 for Luke. I don't know the last time I actually played a deck with Luke in it. I think I underrate him a little bit. Extremely high value, very efficient, just very slow. Then, because the threshold, once I put it in over on the main scheme, the threshold is going to be 7 plus 6 of 13. It's going to get 4 in step 1 from 5 up to 9. So that's not enough to pop it. So I'm fine if all my thwarting just goes on build support right now. So we'll pay 1 for build support. Hope and Deadpool thwart it down. Get the Helicarrier. Oh yeah, Montage to play Symbiote Suit next turn. Heck yeah. Oh, Helicarrier comes into play, not just in the hand. Helicarrier for it and over on the main scheme. Maximum effort. I'll take 3 to deal 3 to the Creeping Willow. Obviously keep the tough on Luke. Might as well keep Rogue around, and we'll end the turn. Okay, Suit and Montage are the last 2 cards, but we'll get to draw them with Exhausting Personality, more likely than not. 4 threat on the main scheme goes up to from 5 to 9. Juggernaut attacks. I'm looking at just taking this one. Now that we've got the it in over, like we can be even more liberal with that. Luke having the tough to jump in front of a trample is amazing. Or to soak up a whole bunch of indirect damage. Yeah, I just want this to hit me. For 4 plus a boost of 1. Okay, I guess it just barely kills me, but it will kill me. So go to 1 and flip. 2 encounter cards. Flatten. Choose to either take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack or place 1 momentum counter on him. Can't really take the damage, so we'll place a momentum counter on him. And then Siderax Exemplar. So Insight 1 brings it up to 10. And then we place threat on the main scheme equal to Juggernaut's attack. So that's going to be 5, puts it to 15, which does just barely get to the threshold because it's 7 plus 8 which is 15. And we're on 10, we're adding 5, so yeah. So we remove all threat from here. If Juggernaut Expose was in play, flip it, place 1 momentum counter on Juggernaut. And then Juggernaut attacks each player. So we do have to have Luke block this one, but that's totally fine. So attacking for 6 plus no boost ability. Hits off the tough. And we made it to another turn. So now I definitely don't Weapon X. I will recover, ready with the Chimichanga truck. Up to 9. And flip to hero form. Draw with Moira McDuggart. So there's the suit. Let's see if I want to spend any cards from hand to get in the reshuffle before playing Exhausting Personality. Maybe energy. I don't have an energy barrier out yet. They're so nice against those creeping willows. Let's pay these 2 for an energy barrier. Then we'll play Exhausting Personality. Exhaust a player's identity. That player draws 1 card for each acceleration token on the main scheme. So card 1, we get an encounter card. 3 more on the way. I legitimately thought, I've played this matchup a few times because I did this matchup before starting my channel even. And it was always, I was never dying this much, which probably was not necessarily correct on my part, but because Deadpool is just so healthy, he can usually just take a lot of damage. But I guess that's the sort of pattern you get yourself in when you maximum effort for 8 damage on turn 1. So 3 more cards from Exhausting Personality. And I know it might sound crazy, but we probably win next turn. As a FYI. So, Montage generates 1 additional wild resource for each acceleration token on the main scheme to a max of 3 additional resources. So, quad resource for the symbiote suit. Go up 10 hit points immediately. Our stats are buffed, which Hope also sees. One resource inefficient. But we've got 2 for another energy barrier. Then either Endurance or Yoo-Hoo. I would like to die again this villain phase. It's a little bit hard to time because I don't want to die right away, right? Because what if I get a whole bunch more attacks and damage and stuff? Because I could just Yoo-Hoo for 6 to get this, to defeat Established Perimeter. Or I can Endurance, obviously. Endurance does give me, I mean, it represents 6 extra damage on the burst kill. For a second I thought, oh, I can do Rogue's thing over and over again and do 6 damage by redirecting it all, but no, it's a limit once per round. Because basically maximum personality would hit, or maximum effort would kill this stage. I could go down to 1. If my max is 19, then this card is fire, does 18. I need to clear the tough and get 7 damage, which really isn't that hard. I mean, that's just my allies and maybe some energy barriers. So let's just Yoo-hoo. Okay, let's just Yoo-hoo. Take 6 down to 13. Remove 6 threat from established perimeter. That's cleared. Each identity gets a tough. Hope attacks for 3. And that's the turn. Hand size of 6 now with the suit. Ooh, and a meta knowledge. Okay, so keep that in mind as we start revealing encounter cards. 5 threat on the main scheme, up to 5 out of 15. Juggernaut attacks for 1,000,000. No reason not to just take it on the tough here. Boost ability, you are stunned. A little bit annoying. Hits the tough off. 3 encounter cards, thanks to our lovely symbiote suit. Siderax Exemplar. I don't think this is worth canceling. 1 threat on the main scheme from Insight 1, and then 6 threat because that's Juggernaut's attack. So that'll put us up to 12 on the main scheme. Head of Steam. When revealed, attach to Juggernaut and place 1 momentum counter on him. Well, we were going to reveal that anyways when we went to stage 3. Shadow of the Past. For many heroes in the game, that's an obvious meta-knowledge target, but Shadow of the Past really isn't that bad. Actually, I also don't have a way to kill myself. If I could kill myself in this, you know what, that's what I should have done. I should have just played Endurance and kept Yoo-hoo in hand so that I could Yoo-hoo down and then flip up next turn, getting the cards and the full health and the tutor going into hero form. Well, this we learn. So, honestly, I don't even think I need to cancel this. The question is, if I'm not canceling that, what am I canceling? Okay, for the first time in a very long time, tragedy struck and I ran out of storage on my phone. So luckily, I haven't gone too much past yet. I decided not to cancel Shadows of the Past. And actually, now that I think about it, I need to remove those because I had 1 card dealt to me that I hadn't revealed yet. It was Flatten, but obviously you would say, oh, how convenient to you. You cut the video and then the card that you revealed was like the easiest possible card. So don't want anyone to accuse me of that. So I'm going to redeal that last card. But obviously that card can't be from among the Shadow of the Past set since they're all dealt at the start of step 3. So one more card to look at here. All right, so last card is a Ground Pound. So I'll shuffle the rest of Shadow of the Past in. So So the players as a group take indirect damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, which is currently 7. I just shuffled the whole, gosh. Okay, well, this is really embarrassing. Very luckily, in the first few seconds of that clip, as I took out the Shadow of the Past cards, I actually fanned through the entire encounter deck, so I can actually recreate the exact encounter deck before I stupidly shuffled this in. So if you want to go back 1 minute and like verify, these were the cards remaining in the encounter deck from which I must deal my fourth encounter card that I hadn't revealed after revealing Shadow of the Past. So this is my 4th encounter card from the turn. It's going to be an advance. I'm going to think about it, and then I somehow, well, as I shuffle that all together, all right, get my Shadow of the Past cards back out from under here. So this is going to put threat on the main scheme. It might advance. If it advances, he's going to get a counter, attack me. I guess I don't really care about that. It's more a question of like, what do I want to do with my turn? Do I have the free resources to spend to just cancel it? And since I did a cut, I'll shuffle my deck as well, just so you know I'm not stacking it in any way advantageous to myself. So before my first cut where I ran out of storage, I was pondering flipping the helmet, playing Katana, playing Armed to the Teeth, flipping to Sonic Rifle, and confusing as I flip down. That would require all of my resources, though. But I can really afford to take an attack. The follow-up question is, once I take a damage, involuntary procedures will get an extra threat. Can I still thwart it down? So I think I'm not going to cancel this. And odds are it doesn't even pop, but it's going to be a scheme for 1 plus a boost of 3. Okay, so it does pop. So remove all threat from here. If Juggernaut exposes and play flip it, give Juggernaut a counter. Juggernaut attacks. So, I mean, I can still recover for days, so. And yeah, no one really to block with, so I'll just take it. This is for 8, plus a boost of attach this to your identity. That would have been a really funny way to die. But I'll take 8. I could energy barrier a little bit. I think I want to. I want to just be able to use these up to help end the game faster. I'm going to double energy barrier and deal 2 damage to Butler. But then the attack was coming in for 8, so I'm going to take 6. I should have maybe just restarted this for that sloppiness, but it's been kind of a sweet game, so I wanted to maintain this one as much as I could. So that might mess with my plans, because now I have to spend mental to discard that card. Yeah, I don't get my tutor ability if I don't discard that from my hand. The whole confused thing with Sonic Rifle was kind of unnecessary anyways. Like, it's not going to get close to 15 from a single scheme. After I take damage, Involuntary Procedures gets a threat. All right, so here we go. Let's check the discard, make sure I've got copies of both. This card is fire and maximum effort left in the deck for next turn. Pay 3 physical resources to flip Juggernaut's helmet. Remove each momentum counter from Juggernaut and flip this card. Then yeah, I'm going to have a little excess resources. Okay, I'm going to have Rogue tag Deadpool. We're going to prevent it, fire it back at Butler, who gets taken out. So Rogue is +2/+2, only takes the printed. I'm going to have Rogue thwart down Involuntary Procedures for 4. Hope is going to thwart it for 3, because she matches our actual thwart, not just our printed. So we've still got Luke in case. No, actually. Well, but we're out of tramples. Are we out of tramples? 1 trample. Oh no, but once we're in Alter Ego, trample is take 2 indirect damage, not Juggernaut attacks an ally. Okay, so I'm not setting myself up to have Hope die if Rogue's no longer in play. So I think I just play the Katana, and I don't care about keeping either of these cards because I'm flipping down. So I'll pay 2 for the Katana. I will do the Katana, take 1 damage, because that's part of the cost. And even though I'm stunned, you still have to pay all the costs. And I'll remove my stun instead of attacking. Luke will just attack for 2, because why not? No retaliate, because he's got 0 momentum counters. Flip down. Mental to discard Tabula Rasa. Recover for 8, truck to ready, and recover all the way up to full, which is 19. And end the turn. So obviously he's going to flip the helmet back right away, but this shrinks him an amount that makes other encounter cards milder. 7-card hand. And we got this card as fire, so that's perfect. We just needed 1 of the 3, because now we can draw up maximum effort using Deadpool's ability. 5 threat on the main scheme in step 1. Juggernaut schemes for 1 plus a boost of 2. After Juggernaut schemes, he gets a momentum counter, and we flip Juggernaut exposed. 3 encounter cards. Trample, so take 2 indirect damage. And yeah, at this stage in the game, I think maybe Luke just takes it. Probably doesn't matter. I'll have Luke take it. Creeping Willow's fine. And then Gang Up Surges. Breakthrough, either take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack or discard the highest cost card. Okay, well I do get a free recover, which I maybe should have considered with the trample, but it's too late. So I get a free recover. So I'll just take damage equal to Juggernaut's attack, which is 4. Okay, and then I'm assuming the Creeping Willow doesn't mess with things too much, but I think we should have it here. We'll do Wade's action. Let's discard Face the Past. Draw up a maximum effort. Let's Weapon X, take 1, get another one, not that it makes a difference. We will recover and Chimichanga Truck to ready up to 19. Flip to hero form. Hope takes out Creeping Willow. And I guess it kind of does help actually, because now maximum effort, I only need to do it for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, down to 11. So we'll deal 8 to Juggernaut. I'll take, okay, slow down here. What's the order of events here? Deal an equal amount to an enemy. So we'll deal 8 to Juggernaut. This stage is defeated. We reveal the next stage. Search up Head of Steam and reveal it. And now I'm actually not sure about this. Do I do the one revealed again since I'm revealing it, even though it's already in play? I think Grim Rule would say I do. Honestly, almost helps me. I think we've got it either way, so I'm not going to rules lawyer it, but I think I do the one revealed again, but let me know if that's wrong. But it says attach and give him a momentum counter, so we just gave him another momentum counter. If he was exposed, we flip it. Otherwise, give Juggernaut a tough status. So we'll give him the tough. I take Retaliate 2. This is why I'm saying it almost helps me. So I'm just going to Grim Rule. I'm going to only Energy Barrier 1 of it, just in case I'm wrong there. I mean, we're just so overkill, it really doesn't matter. And then I'll take the second one just on myself. Didn't even draw from Moira, but we're fine. Comes in on 25. We'll have Luke attack for 2. We will Katana, take 1 damage, attack for 2, take... Yeah, I'm going to Grim Rule it again here. I'm going to take 2 damage. I'm only going to let myself Energy Barrier 1. Back. Normal attack for 3. Sure, I'll just take both Retaliate. Maximum effort for... clearly I could do it for 2 or 3, depending on how much Retaliate Juggernaut should have. Let's say he's got Retaliate 2, so I'll maximum effort. I'll take 2 damage to deal 2 damage, and then take 2 Retaliate. And then this card is Fire. I have 18 sustained damage, so this card is Fire. We'll deal 18 damage for the win. So not exactly sure. I have to double check what the actual ruling is there, but no, never a concern of like that changing the outcome of the game here. Clearly had it. So okay, and I feel like in the true spirit of Deadpool there, we went crazy on turn 1, put ourselves at pretty massive risk of losing to a few encounter cards. There was the one turn where I was flipped down, and if we added more threat to the main scheme, Juggernaut would have attacked again, and either I would have died, or no, I guess I just would have died. So unnecessary risk there. Don't follow what I did at the start of the game and expect that to lead to success, because we can always, like, in the ideal circumstance, right, we're doing maximum effort for 18, maybe slightly less depending on the Retaliate, Like, that should always clear stage 1, regardless of whether or not we've done an initial, chunk of damage on him or not. So yeah, really sorry for that. But we got the symbiote suit out, and then it gave us our easy win button one or two turns later, just based off how the draw worked. 2 turns later in that case. But a really cool matchup. Yeah, like I said, I was expecting to just tank a lot of damage, but not die so much. Like, I didn't get the hidden base at all. Didn't clear established perimeter until late in the game. I never got a tough off of hard knocks. But Deadpool, Deadpool can just die and survive. So once we stuck it in over on here, that was pretty massive. Even though it still popped a couple times after we put it in over on, it stopped it from popping like every single turn, So that was pretty good, and we got it done. Again, Deadpool probably overqualified for Juggernaut for the sake of my challenge, but a really, really cool matchup that I enjoy a lot. So I hope it was fun for you to watch as well. I'm recording this plenty in advance of when you're seeing it. I've just been on a roll. I've got a lot of time to record stuff, so I'm not exactly sure what's coming next. Maybe it'll be Synthesoid Smackdown. Maybe I've already done that. Maybe it'll be Galaxy's Most Wanted. Who knows? But I hope you'll join me for that, and I'll see you next time.